Thank you for calling gospelbillboards.org. To speak with someone about your questions or spiritual needs, press 0.
Thank you for calling Gospel Billboards. Harold speaking.
I saw a billboard that said if I'm going to heaven or hell, and I was just trying to figure out which it is.
So you saw the billboard, where are you going, heaven or hell? And you want to know how you determine where you're going.
Yeah, how do you figure that out? Like, is there like a flow chart, or is it like a...
Sure, let me explain. Where we go in life is based upon the road you're traveling.
Well,
and so there's two roads. One's called the broad way, and one's called the narrow way. Jesus talked about both ways. He said the broad way is the way that leads downward to destruction, to the lake of fire, to hell. And the narrow way is the way that leads to life eternal, to God, to heaven. Okay? So my question to you, Daniel, is which path are you on? Are you on the broad way or are you on the narrow way?
Right now I'm on I-40. Would that be considered a broad way or a narrow way?
And so let me explain a little bit deeper. So
Okay.
Jesus talked about the two ways. One's called the broad way. That's the way of sin. That's the way of the enemy. That's the way of the devil. That's the way of the world.
Like,
flesh.
I'm sorry. Are you talking toward, like, I'm heading toward Knoxville? Would that be the same way as sin?
Well, it depends on why you're going there, what your motives are. It could be. The narrow way is the way of Jesus Christ. It's the way of repenting of your sins, turning away from your sins, putting your faith and trust in Jesus Christ and the sacrifice He made on the cross, being filled with His Spirit, and then walking with Him daily, being faithful to His commands. That's the narrow way to heaven. So there's the two ways.
I understand.
Are you on the broad way of sin, or are you on the narrow way with Jesus?
Well, at the moment, I'm heading to my mom's house, and I'm going to visit her for the weekend. Would that be the narrow way? Would that be in alignment with having Jesus filling my body and soul?
So do you understand what sin is?
As far as I know, it comes from an old archery term.
Sin is missing the mark. So missing the mark is sin. I'll give an example. Whenever God created us, He planned for us to always tell the truth. And whenever we lie, that means we miss the mark.
Oh, kind of like when your wife asks you if these pants make my ass look big, and you're like, no, that would be like sin. I mean, if they really do.
So you understand what sin is. Sin is transgression of the law or missing the mark.
Right.
And
yeah,
so
I don't think Jesus
are you living a lifestyle of sin, or are you living a lifestyle of victory in Jesus?
Well, I don't think it's either. That sounds a little like a false dichotomy to me, but I'm somewhere on a path, but I don't know if one of those two paths is necessarily the one I'm on.
Mm-hmm. From what I can tell, it sounds like you're not on the narrow way with Jesus. So my suggestion is this: pray and ask God to give you a deeper desire to know Him and to love Him and to walk with Him, and then get a Bible and begin reading the Gospel of Matthew that talks about Jesus and gives His life story, how He came in the sacrifice He made. That's two first steps I would suggest.
I can handle that. So let me ask you, as far as which Bible should I get? Because the last time I checked, like 20, almost 30 different ones that I could choose from, and they have all different types of things going on in them, all sorts of different translations, and I'm always confused about which one I should go with.
I'm going to suggest, if you want to get a Bible that's accurate, translation that's good, you can get the ASV, or you can get a New King James Version.
How do I validate the accuracy of that one over and above all the other ones?
Most of the Bibles you get will be close, very close to being accurate, and so you don't have to worry about any of the Bibles really. But I'm just telling you that some of the most accurate ones, most literal translation, will be ASV or the New King James Version, or you can go with NIV, which is easy to read. All of them are good Bibles. So.
All right. I'm just out of curiosity, why wouldn't I start at the very beginning?
I'm going to suggest you start with the Gospel of Matthew because it talks about Jesus, and read his story, look at what Christ taught, what he said and did, learn to know Jesus Christ first, and then after you've completed the Gospel of Matthew, Then go back, if you like, and start at Genesis chapter 1.
Isn't that a little bit like going to the middle of the Hunger Games series and getting to know Katniss Everdeen when she's already achieved hero status, and then trying to go back and figure out how it all came about?
Again, like I said, I suggest that you start with Gospel Matthew, read that first. Learn to know Jesus. That's who the Bible's about. That's the reason for the Bible, is to help us learn to know Jesus. He is the central theme of the entire Bible. In the Old Testament, we have the prophecies concerning his coming, and then we have his actual coming and his death and resurrection, etc., for our salvation. So,
probably have to ask for forgiveness for this one after the call, but I was just curious, just to be clear, which spelling of the word coming are you referring to?
I'm sorry?
Which spelling of the word coming are you referring to? I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying.
I didn't catch what you're speaking about.
Oh, you said something about Jesus coming, and I was just curious if you were talking about C-O-M-I-N-G or C-U-M-M-I-N-G. I'm never quite clear. I mean, over phone call, it's usually hard to tell because it's just word of mouth. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes words get misunderstood. I mean, kind of like how the Bible was over all the years of being passed down through word of mouth. It's very easy to mix up meanings of words that way. You understand what I'm saying?
We do have a website that's called gospelbillboards.org. There's some resources there too. You can post some questions if you want to.
Okay.
If you have some of those questions you want to ask.
Well, I really appreciate the call, man. You've been very professional and very helpful as far as pointing me in the right direction, and I just wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome, and you have a nice evening.
All right, you too.